What's going on, everyone? It's LJ, and what a great year it's been for vinyl. Here we are, the end of 2014. So this is that year in review. It's going to be strictly limited to vinyl, and it's not necessarily the best albums released in 2014. What it is are my personal favorites that have been added to the collection this year. These are the albums that I've raved about in vinyl updates throughout the year and continue to spin without concern for grooveware. Ranking these from most favorite to least favorite, yeah, that's about as useless as the silent P in Psycho, and the list would just change daily anyways. But everyone loves a list, and so I struggled. I lost sleep, I sold my soul twice, and I got it done. Every one of these albums is amazing. Everyone is worthy of your attention, and everyone is spun so frequently that they are each burned into my brain for all eternity. Before we get going, I do want to make sure that I say thank you to each and every subscriber, old and new this year. Thank you for all of your support, for your comments, for watching these videos, and for helping me to continue on making videos that seems like you enjoy. Omitted from this list are albums that I've received in trade or as gifts from friends. To include those would only serve to slight someone unintentionally, and the truth is, nothing could be further from the truth. Without any further ado, it's time to inspect this list. Here are the very best. Let's go. You didn't really think I could narrow it down to 10, did you? The new wave of British heavy metal masterpiece, Virtue, with We Stand to Fight. A 2013 collection of scarce singles and even scarcer demos, pictures, and liner notes, collected on Greek-based label No Remorse, in a one-off compilation. If it's out there, it's in here. The 2014 debut from new wave of traditional heavy metal band, Hittin'. Based in Spain and influences worn proudly on their sleeves, this album reminds you why you loved heavy metal so much in the mid-80s. A proud tip of the hat to Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, Tank, and more. Complete with full-size poster and sticker. There's nowhere for this band to go but straight to the top. 2013 gave us a first full-length release from Finnish-based Speed Trap. Kill 'em all era Metallica style riffing meets Motorhead aggression and energy. Move or be mowed down. Here we go. Ow. 2014 also saw the debut release from Swedish-based Ambush. This is an album that proudly checks every single 80s heavy metal box. 40 minutes of pure perfection. 2010 saw the original lineup of White Wizard minus one bass player reform as Southern California's Holy Grail for their debut album, Crisis in Utopia. Southern California never sounded heavier, with James Paul Luna back behind the mic wailing away. A new classic heavy metal track is written in the process with My Last Attack, and the bar for new wave of traditional heavy metal bands is raised right here.
Moving fast, I'm leaving you.
2010 also saw the sophomore release from Sweden-based Enforcer. New to the collection this year, just a touch slower than the phenomenal debut album, with a bit more melody sprinkled in, created an amazing sophomore evolution of an album. 2014 gave metalheads everywhere a reason to jump up and down with a brand new album from Judas Priest with Redeemer of Souls. The hardest, heaviest, loudest, tightest, and aggressive this band has been since 1990's Painkiller. Also available was the companion piece, 5 Souls, which contained 5 additional tracks not available on the original vinyl release, as they were available as a CD exclusive only. Now you know it wouldn't be me without at least one tip of the hat to a country album. Joining the collection in 2014, the 2010 release from Whitey Morgan in the 78s. Insanely difficult to find, straight out of Flint, Michigan, and the most genuine, authentic, honky-tonk country album released in the last 40 years.
You can't roller skate in a buffalo herd.
Back to the rock. 2014 also finally saw the decades overdue reissue of the 1990 King Diamond classic, The Eye. Although I love everything King Diamond and Merciful Fate have ever done, things never gelled and never would again as well as they did right here. Next, we head straight back to Sweden, noticing a trend here, for the 2013 debut release from Heavy Tiger. This is Saigon Kiss. The Runaways meets 70s era Kiss, and a three-piece all-girl band releases an amazing debut without a second wasted. You'll be amazed at how soon you're singing along. And now we slide into the final five, and here come a couple of reissues that absolutely blew me away. Albums I am thrilled to finally have my hands on and have in the collection. Starting with Kiss Alive 3. This is an album that's been near impossible to touch for the longest time for anything shy of crazy prices. It's been available forever on cassette and CD, and my hope, my true hope, was that when it made it to vinyl, it would sound as amazing as it did on those other formats. It did not disappoint. To this date, I am still stunned. I'm holding it in my hands on vinyl. It's an absolutely stellar live album. Another reissue of an album that's been out of print, scarce, and pricey for decades. Originals have been available at ridiculous prices. The reissue was first available in the Vinyl Conflict box set, and that went out of print like that. The 1990 album from Slayer, Seasons in the Abyss. Slayer's most perfect moment. I love just about everything Slayer has ever done up through 1994, but this album just had it all. The production, the songs, the sound. To finally hold a copy, much like Alive 3, is just breathtaking. Mastered to obliterate, it sounds phenomenal, and bloodthirsty Slayer fans everywhere finally got the opportunity to hold Seasons in the Abyss in their hands. Coming in at number 3 is an album that was found completely by accident, something I wasn't even looking for, and that is Amulet's The First. Never before has an album sat down on the turntable and just made me sit up and stare, or stand up and shout. An album that so perfectly replicated listening to something that's an absolute classic for you again the very first time. Like the very first time I heard Iron Maiden's Killers all those years ago. How it drew me right in. And so did Amulet's first album, The First. New wave of traditional British heavy metal album by a new band from England, and it demanded more time on the turntable since it's been here in the last 4 weeks than any other album I have bought this year. Coming in at number 2, the album that's gonna duke it out for the top spot, missed only by a hair, this much, and that is Ace Frehley's Space Invader. Now, I'm sure many of you thought this may have made it as my number 1 choice, and maybe if I had had some more time with it, it would have. Released just last month in the United States on vinyl, I have to tell you, this album is far superior to his last release, Anomaly, and at first, I thought it was far superior to or on par with his mid-80s work with his own band, Frehley's Comet. The more that I've spun it, and the more that I've digested it, it is right on par with, but not better than, but damn close, his legendary solo album, which is pretty much untouchable for Ace fans. I have to tell you, the more times this spins, the better it gets. There's not a single weak moment. Ace is back. And here it is. It all comes down to this. Number 1, baby. The album that I have become the most excited to own, the most excited to play in 2014. And it's an album I never expected this would happen with. I knew I'd like it, I knew I'd spin it, but I never thought it would be back on the turntable 3 to 4 times a week and just continue to blow me away. And that is Screamer's second album, Phoenix. Screamer is a band from Sweden. They're a new wave of traditional heavy metal band, which means they fly their influences proudly. The early Iron Maiden, the early 80s heavy metal, the galloping choruses, the huge rhythms, the shredding vocals, the amazing melodies is what they're all about. Never did I think, when I set the needle down on Screamer's Phoenix for the very first time, that it would never be more than a couple of feet away from the turntable for the rest of the year. The album is simply amazing. I can't say enough good things about it. And I also cannot wait for another release from Screamer. And to the members of Screamer, should you ever catch this video, thank you for putting together such an absolutely amazing album. And so that's it. That was the top 10, 15 of 2014. It was a lot of fun to put together. Again, huge thanks to all the subscribers for staying tuned and providing your feedback and comments throughout the year. Love to hear your comments below on this one. What albums worked for you? Which ones didn't? Again, this was just my list. What albums have I missed this year that I should check out? Agree or disagree with my number one? If you disagree with it, I could agree with you, but then we'd both be wrong. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a fantastic holiday, and Happy New Year. Later.